Hi everyone, my name is Lilly Hudac and I'm a 7th grader at Seneca Valley, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the world's most mysterious, controversial topics, conspiracy theories. I chose to research this topic because conspiracy theories are all over the world, but no one really talks about them. They're kind of this hidden topic that no one brings up in conversations. I've spent months researching and analyzing all the reliable information I was able to locate. Now it's finally time to share it. Let's get started. First things first, what are conspiracy theories? Conspiracy theories are beliefs or ideas that some influential organization or person is responsible for some circumstance or event. There are tons and tons of theories formed from events that happen all over the world. Let's talk about some of the most famous ones. 9/11. On September 11, 2001, an extremist Islamic terrorist group called the Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 U.S. planes to hit 4 targets in the United States. The group flew 2 planes into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, causing both buildings to completely fall to pieces. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon, and the 4th plane crashed into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. This attack caused thousands of deaths and injuries that affected many individuals and families. It also brought out many confused people with some interesting theories. The conspiracy of 9/11 was that it was staged and faked by the government in order to increase American and Israeli military power. Many witnesses have said that they heard explosions from the bottom of the Twin Towers building, indicating that a bomb was purposefully placed there. They also said that it would be completely impossible for the buildings to fall completely on their own, just from the plane's impact. The reality of this research claims that this was all just a terrorist attack instructed by Osama bin Laden. The reason both towers fell was because after the planes had hit both buildings, they completely engulfed in flames. This caused the steel infrastructure of the buildings to completely melt, which caused both buildings to collapse. The moon landing. 20th, 1969, the United States sent a crewed mission called Apollo 11 to be the first to land on the moon. This was a big step for the US because we had beat the Soviets in the space race and got to the moon first. It had certainly brought out the conspiracies when photos of the events were shown to the public. The conspiracy of the moon landing was that, once again, the government had faked it in order to get ahead of the Soviets in the space race, which meant getting to the moon first. Conspiracists claim that it was fake because the American flag was flapping in the photo when there is no oxygen or air in space. Also, there were no stars in the picture as well. NASA, who are the ones that send Apollo 11 to space, and many others have debunked this theory by explaining that NASA designs flags for space that are able to portray the flag so others know that the US has been there. Any other normal flag would have just flapped down because there is no oxygen in space. NASA also mentioned that due to poor camera quality back in the late 60s, the stars were unable to be captured on the camera, which is why you can't see them in the picture. John F. Kennedy's assassination. 22nd in 1963, during a campaign visit to Dallas, Texas, President John F. Kennedy rode down the street in a motorcade with his wife. He was shot twice in the back of his neck, and 1 bullet had landed on the right of his spine. Others say 3 fires were shot, some even say 4. But the conspiracy suggests that Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't the only one behind this assassination. Because of the positions of the bullets that had hit JFK, people believe that there was more than one shooter from multiple angles that had shot at the president multiple different times. Many theories range from the mafia killing JFK, Lyndon B. Johnson killing JFK after his jealousy for his presidency, the Soviets killing him over missile crisis, even other suspects that associate with JFK's alien activity in him wanting to see UFO files from the CIA. It's crazy to think that so many conspiracies can connect to each other and have many similarities. We've all heard of the internet famous Area 51, but it does connect to JFK's assassination theory because of all his accusations of wanting to see alien activity and UFO files from the CIA, like Area 51. Or If you take a look at the Illuminati, who is said to have been the cause for many historic events like 9/11 or even World War II, theories just don't come up randomly. The psychology of how conspiracy theories come to be and shared isn't too complex. It starts when something happens, like an event. It brings out people that create ideas explaining how this event happened, why it happened, who made it happen, etc. Theories are almost always spread on social media or any way they can get to the public eye. We'll see these theories and see these ideas. Our brains start to spot patterns between the ideas and the event, which causes the conspiracy to form. This then leads it to spread even more. Maybe you even start creating your own conspiracies. Another way that explains how they happen are when big events occur. Think the bigger the event, the bigger cause. This leaves people to come up with big theories from these big events, like 9/11, in the long run just have a simple cause or an explanation. This is why many theories are formed around the governments, because most of the time they are associated with these big events. They can affect people along the way. Can set in anyone's brain due to all the overwhelming facts and ideas and conspiracies that everybody's sharing with you, leaving people not knowing what to believe. This can also lead to a decrease in social engagement, as these people are constantly worried about who they can trust and what's going on around them 24/7. Conspiracies have affected what people believe as well. The theory went around that vaccinations can give your child autism. Vaccine rates started to decrease rapidly. People feared for their children because they didn't know what to believe. On top of all this research that I've done, I decided to interview somebody who I thought would understand my research and be able to dig deeper and answer my questions that I had. Shout out to Mr. James, who is our head of security here at Seneca Valley. I interview him because he used to work as a special agent for the government. Throughout research, you come to find that many theories are formed around the government and what they do, which is why it was perfect to interview somebody who worked for them. To start it off, he was a special agent who worked to protect people that were involved with the government, like the president and their families. I had first asked him why he thought so many theories were formed around the government and what they do. Mr. James brought up something that pretty much summed up the whole psychology of how the theories are formed, Occam's razor, which basically is a problem-solving principle that means the simplest things are what's best or what's right. This connected so well to what I had said earlier about how big events with simple answers are made so much more complicated. I then asked Mr. James, how do you think conspiracies have affected our country, and have they affected the government? He said they do impact the government because they hurt the government's credibility. As there are about the government, after a while they do become irrational. James quoted Shakespeare saying that two can keep a secret if one of them is dead. Meaning not everybody in the government is able to keep such big secrets for long periods of time because there's so many people involved with them, which is why the theories are fake. Further along in the interview, I asked him if conspiracy theories had changed the way he views the world. He said, sadly, yes, by how he views the people. The far-fetched theories can extend to a point where they do become questionable. Mr. James brought up a good point on debunking the theories as people start them. If he's ever in a conversation with someone that brings up a conspiracy that they believe, he stops and asks them, where are the people? This immediately stops them and debunks their theory. It is a very valid point to consider when starting to create theories or starting to believe them. To go along with this, he brought up the Sandy Hook shooting back in 2012 when an active shooter entered Sandy Hook Elementary School and killed 20 kids and 6 staff members before taking his own life. America responded to this mass shooting by saying that the children and the staff members who had died, along with their families, were paid actors and that the government faked it in order to enforce gun control laws afterwards. This event involved many people and families whose lives may never be the same because of that day. The government cannot hide all these people that have been hurt emotionally and physically because of these unexpected events that have happened. In the end of the interview, I asked Mr. James, what do you think is the significance of conspiracy theories? They can be good for people. It is good to question the government and learn about our history from the past. Seeking the truth is important. However, it can be turned into things it shouldn't and get out of hand, which is how the commotion starts and people start making theories. In the end, the interview helped me a lot and allowed me to see how conspiracies can be answered from a professional with experience. It also gave me a new look on the government. They hold many possibilities and skills, but keeping huge secrets in such big groups may not be one of them. There are millions of more theories out there and millions of more to be created in the future. Never be afraid to dig deeper into things and search for answers. There is so much more to learn about the world and what goes on in it. This is only the beginning. Thanks for watching.